Hello and welcome to our lesson on why atoms form ions. Okay, so pause the video and have a go at this first question. Could you tell me how many protons, electrons and neutrons each of these atoms have? So helium has 2 protons, 2 electrons and 2 neutrons. Lithium has 3 protons, 3 electrons and 4 neutrons. Sodium has 11 protons, 11 electrons and 12 neutrons. What I want you to understand from this exercise is that an atom always has the same number of protons and electrons. So here's your core concept. An atom is neutral. Why? The positive protons are equal to the negative electrons and so they cancel each other out. So why does an atom form an ion? Well, let's look at this atom. This is lithium, and lithium has a chemical symbol Li. So if this atom reacts, it will lose an electron to make it more stable. If you look at the seesaw, let's take away that electron. What's happened to the balance of my charges? Well, if I try to cancel them out, those two are cancelled out, those two cancel each other out, but I end up with an extra +1 charge, and so my seesaw tips towards the positive side. So the symbol, or the ionic symbol for lithium, will be Li plus 1 because it's got an extra positive charge. Here's the lithium atom compared to the lithium ion, and you'll notice the lithium ion has lost the outer energy level and it's just got that internal energy level, which is now the outside energy level, and therefore it's stable because it's full. Let's look at this one here. This is boron with the chemical symbol of B. Boron has 4 protons and it has 4 electrons, so the atom is neutral because it has equal numbers of positives and negatives. They cancel each other out. But in this example, it loses 2 electrons. So let's remove them from the seesaw. Let's try to cancel them out. And you'll notice that this time the seesaw tips not just a little bit, but even further. And boron has a +2 charge because it has 2 extra protons that are not cancelled out. This is an ion. So here's the boron atom with a 0 charge. And here's the more stable boron ion with a +2 charge. Okay, so let's look at this next one here. This is fluorine with a chemical symbol F. Now, fluorine has 9 protons and 9 electrons. But if this one reacts, instead of losing electrons, it actually gains an electron. So let's add that electron onto my seesaw and let's try to cancel everything out. And you'll notice that I now have a tip in towards the electron side, to the negative side, because I have that one additional negative electron. So it's no longer neutral, so it's not an atom anymore. It doesn't have the same number of protons, electrons, so it has a charge of -1, and we say that this is an ion. So this is the ionic formula, is F minus 1. If we look at the fluorine atom compared to the fluorine ion, it doesn't look that much different, but there is one extra additional electron, which gives it the -1 charge. An ion, then, is an atom that has lost or gained electrons to become electrically charged. Now, I did a bit of dual coding to help you with this. An ion is an atom which has lost or gained electrons to become electrically charged. If you like dual coding, that might help. If you don't like dual coding, don't worry about it. So here's our core concept then. An ion is an atom that has lost or gained electrons to become electrically charged. We also need to remember that if an atom gains an electron, it becomes negatively charged. So I joke with my little emoji here, this is me seeing you all arriving in the classroom. Oh my grief, there's loads of you reacting very negatively. Whereas if it loses an electron, it becomes positively charged. And again, I joke that this is a picture of me waving goodbye at the end of a lesson, glad that it's all over. I'm glad I got another week till I see you again. Of course, it's a joke. I love teaching you all, but if it helps you remember, great. Okay, so little quiz time. Pause the video and have a go yourself. Will this be a +1 ion or a -1 ion? Well, it's gained an electron, so it will be -1. What about this one here? Will it be +2 or -2? Well, it's losing electrons, and it's losing 2 electrons, so it will be +2. Okay, what about this question? In a reaction, a potassium atom loses 1 electron. How many electrons will a potassium ion have? Well, you can see here that it tells you it's got 19 protons, so it should have 19 electrons. That's the normal atom. So it should have 19, but it loses 1, and so the answer would be 18 electrons in the potassium ion. Okay, what about this one here? Okay, well again, how many electrons would I normally have? I'd normally have 17, but it's gained 1 electron, so again the answer is 18. Okay, so how was this ion created? Well, it's +3, so it must have lost 3 electrons. Now you'll notice C, it says gained 3 protons. This is how they're going to catch you out. If you gain 3 protons, it would also be +3, but we're not talking about protons here. Ions are losing or are gaining electrons, so don't fall for that trick. Okay, so how was this ion created? Well, it's -2 or -2, so it's gained 2 electrons or gained 2 negative electrons. Okay, so let's move on to the next question. Why do some atoms gain electrons and others lose electrons? Well, this is helium, and helium has a full outer electron energy level. It's only got 1 energy level, so maximum of 2, so it's full. This means that helium is stable, so it doesn't bond, it doesn't react, it's quite happy how it is. This is neon. It also has a full outer and electron energy level. So it's stable, it doesn't need to react, it doesn't bond, it's quite happy how it is. So this is lithium. It doesn't have a full outer electron energy level, it isn't stable, and therefore it needs to react, it needs to bond in order to gain a full outer energy level. So lithium has got 2 choices. It can either try to find 7 more electrons to fill up this outer energy level, because the second energy level can take a maximum of 8, or it could lose this 1 electron here, lose this outer energy level completely, making this the outer energy level, and therefore it's stable. Well, atoms will always do whatever is easier. So which is the easier? Find 7 or lose 1? Well, lithium will lose the outer energy level. It will lose 1 electron to become a +1 ion. Okay, so let's have a look at calcium. Now, calcium is a metal. It has 2 electrons in its outer energy level. So it has 2 choices. It could try to find 6 more electrons to fill up this outer energy level to make 8 in total, or it could lose these 2 electrons to make this the outer energy level and make it stable. But it's going to be much easier to lose those 2 electrons. So calcium has an ionic formula of Ca+2. It's in group 2 with 2 electrons at the outer energy level, and that's why it loses those 2 electrons. So group 2, 2 electrons at the outer energy level, losing 2 electrons. Okay, so here's aluminium, another metal. This time it has 1, 2, 3 electrons in its outer energy level. So it could try to find 5 more to make it full, or it could lose these 3 and make this the outer energy level and become stable. Well, it's going to lose those 3 electrons, and so it will be a +3 ion. Now, aluminium is group 3. How did I know that? Because it's got 3 electrons in its outer energy level. So realistically, anything in group 3 that has 3 electrons in its outer energy level will also form a +3 charge. Here's nitrogen. Now, nitrogen is a non-metal. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 electrons in its outer energy level. Now, that tells me it's group 5. Now, it could try to find 3 more electrons to fill it up, or it could lose 5 in order to get rid of this energy level and to make this the outer energy level and make it stable. Now this time it's going to be easier to try find 3 more. It's going to gain 3 electrons, and therefore this non-metal will have a -3 charge. But because I know it's in group 5, because it's got 5 electrons in the outer energy level, it also means that anything else in group 5, because they all have 5 electrons in the outer energy level, will form a -3 charge. Here's oxygen. Now oxygen is group 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's going to be easier to find 2 more electrons, to gain 2 electrons rather than losing those 6, and so it will form a -2 charge. Because it's group 6, anything in group 6, because they all have 6 electrons in the outer energy level, will also form a -2 ion. So our final core concept for this lesson is simply this. Metals lose electrons to become positive ions. All the metals we looked at, group 1, group 2 and group 3, all lost electrons to become positive ions. And all non-metals, which was group 5, 6 and 7, they all gain electrons to become negative ions. You can see here the dual coding, Here I've got this representing our metal, so it's positive, and our non-metal, which is negative. Okay, that's it for this lesson, guys. I'll see you next time.